First, your reaction in that inflation figure for the month of May, 5.4%, still right on cue on the money here when it comes to market expectations. But you were forecasting 5.5%. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, yeah, as you mentioned, it's within at least the expectation of the market exactly, which was 5.4%. But we were expecting 5.5 because we're still expecting it to go up this particular month, June, because of a momentum. So, but still, every single day, it's like every single day the situation actually changes. No, as mentioned even in the report previously. No, and yeah, 5%. It is what it is. Not at this point. No.
Carlo, much of the expectation is that inflation will somehow be tamed by the latter half of the year. Are you also maintaining that projection, or how far off do you see inflation remaining elevated?
Yeah, our previous forecast is at 4.7 for this year. No? And so we are expecting it to actually taper off towards the I would say about around third quarter to fourth quarter. But still, it's going to be above the government's target of 2 to 4%. So, yeah, that's what we're seeing.
Carlo, can we take a step back, no, and then help us understand, because the oil price is now around 120, but it's been hovering at that level, right? And obviously, this inflation is highly linked, possibly mostly linked to the Russia-Ukraine war. But there is, a number of barrels that we know that we will be losing out on with this ban. The EU ban has already been, or whether if it's in place literally, but it's been announced. And then the Saudi, issue was announced also for the price hike. So why is this priced in now? This 120 is already pricing in the amount of barrels that we will not be having because of this ban? Or why is there still a risk that it's going to be higher than this level pa?
The 4.7 that I mentioned was we came up with that just I think the last round. So we still have to input these new developments and talk about it. And we initially, for me, I think it's still going to, we're looking at 5.7 for this June as the peak. But for me personally, at least at this point, I'm seeing it may be actually higher. So yeah, but we're still hopeful that, as mentioned earlier, that it will taper off eventually.
Okay, Carlo, how long is the pass-through to consumers here? Now we actually see it in the food sector, in the transport sector, vis-a-vis the oil price jumps that we see in the market.
In fact, these when they announced it today, even the previous week, that's going to be like around 6 pesos and some of the products. That thing actually was, I think it was because of last week's, or even a few days before last week, because of the, I think, because it was probing 120 already that time, and certain things that have been announced, certainly because what you mentioned about the EU's ban and everything. So it would take about at least a week, because even in between weeks or within the week, there are actually changes. Because even last week, from about, I think that was 122 in the first part of the week, and then it slid down to 118 around. So with this rise, this Tuesday, the day of prices, I would imagine that again next week there'll be a rollback to some sort. No, so. Because it's so volatile that way, the response would be like so close, unlike before when you actually have to wait for quite some time.
Carlo, million-dollar question: if this Russia-Ukraine war would have been resolved, hopefully it does, sooner rather than later, what would be the inflation expectation from other domestic issues? Would that not have been for sure, no? Or is this, there's still demand-driven issues here, agriculture, supply issues on that side? Is this still worrying, or is it really just this Russia-Ukraine thing? And if so, if it's just the Russia-Ukraine war, then what more can be done, apart from maybe subsidies, as was mentioned?
I think to your point of is it just because of that? Well, if indeed we eventually settle this militarily, when there's no more skirmishes happening, shooting each other and everything, I think it would still take some time. No, I believe that it would still be elevated, and it would take some time for it to ease. No? But once the hostilities end, because you still have these what do you call this, the sanctions that you have to unwind, that you have to deal with. No, so these have actually created havoc in supply chains. So you have to consider that. So, but to your point of what the government can still do, I think prop up still the subsidies, because I think that's one thing. And then of course you still have to look some other ways. Probably they might be forced to actually look at cutting taxes and excise, cutting the excise tax. No, but I don't know. They might be looking at it, or they might look at it, and aside from the subsidies that are already there.